Tobias Harris speaks, as his name has been swirling around there with some trade rumors, some possibilities. He lets us know how he feels on Tuesday. We'll get into it next right here, Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, you are Locked On 76ers. I'm Devon Givens from 97.5 The Fanatic Radio here in Philadelphia, alongside my co-host and partner, as always, from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com. That's Keith Pompey. We thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, and we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including right here on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Keith, what's happening?
What's happening is I'm in the dark again, man. I don't know what's going on, y'all. Which y'all not paying y'all bills for me? Y'all don't like me? Is somebody giving me the exit? I know people been upset with me lately, but are y'all upset with me too, Locked On?
No, it's just keeping you in the dark there just because you know you're about to just be out in the light shining stuff with the news that you're going to let us know by free agency. That's all. That's all.
Okay. All right. I hope it's done. I hope it's over with.
Yeah. A little over 48 hours away, and it's like, okay, let's keep Keith in the dark. And then as soon as it's light once again on Friday, then boom, there it is. Keith Pompey's face and all the information. That's when it's needed. So listen, man, we got a lot to talk about here today. You had your stories on Tobias Harris. We did the stories there, the podcast that his father went on. His agent and his dad went on to a podcast speaking about Tobias Harris, and Tobias spoke today, and we'll share, or Tuesday we'll share what he had to say there, and we'll talk about a new hire for the Nick Nurse coaching staff. As I had a little bug fly by, I mean, you saw that, just waving it off, but there was a new hire or a new announcement from you as you broke a story about an assistant coach as they start to just trickle in who's joining Nick Nurse's staff. We'll tell you about Doug West later, and also we'll keep our theme going for the week. 4 free agents for the 76ers, not named James Harden, that we're going to talk about. And today we'll get into George Niang later, the possibility of his returning, how he looks in the Nick Nurse offense. So we'll talk about George Niang. 2 years with the Sixers, the past 2. We'll see if he sticks around for another few years here in Philadelphia. But Keith, at the Fanatics World or Global Day or World Day or whatever it was called, Michael Rubin going around the country and having a fantastic event and a fantastic giveaway for families and kids. It started in New York early on Tuesday, ended up in Philadelphia as well. Had some big name celebrities in New York, had some big name celebrities in Philadelphia, including Meek Mill, Lil Baby, Joel Embiid there, and also Tobias Harris. And Tobias had a chance to speak to the media about the event. But of course, you know, it wasn't going to go through without speaking about, you know, the trade discussions, the things that are swirling around final year of his contract. And he had some things to say, you know, where he pointed out that he felt like the casual Sixer fans would trade him for a Crumbl cookie, which he does some business with, the Crumbl cookie. No, it's a pretty good item, pretty good cookie. And
that's an expensive cookie, though, boy.
Like, hey, you know how big that cookie is. I see why they charge so much for that cookie. But it's a good cookie, and he said that the casual Sixer fan would trade him for. And you know, unfortunately, this is not a knock on Tobias, not just the casual Sixer fans. Hardcore Sixer fans would also trade him, but for more value, not a cookie. Actual talented players around the league, Zach LaVine, etc. They would try to do that also. But in any event, he just pointed out how, you know, it's tough because he's a 6'9" player that puts up pretty good numbers on a basketball team, catch and shoot, close to 40% three-pointer, can put the ball on the floor, can defend on the other end, defend your best player. And he just felt like simply that, hey, I'm a little better than what people are making me out to be. And he feels like a new opportunity here with Nick Nurse, the coaching staff, not making changes again. He said he wants to be here through all the things that we've been talking about, he said he wants to be here and give it another run, basically running it back with his other 4 starters, his teammates there in that starting lineup, including with Nick Nurse as the head coach. Keith, what did you make of the things that Tobias Harris had to say?
I mean, I kind of, well, outside of the Crumbl cookie thing, which was he's a pitch man for Crumbl, so that was
Correct. So it was a
good
nice throw in there.
Yeah, nice throw in. Outside of that, I guess he said what you expect him to say. Like, I mean, typically a guy, when they're mentioned in trade discussions and trade talks, the best way to do it is like, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm this and that. So like the thing that would have been the shocker to me, or the storyline would have been to me, is, hey, get me out of here. I think I've been here for 4 years. I'm a 4th option. I agree with my agent / father says that, I'm an assassin scorer. I mean, I think that's what people wanted him to say. And he went ahead and was like, nah, hey, here's the deal. I want to be here I want to be here. I want to remain a Sixer. But he did point out that, hey, look, I'm 6'9" and I shoot 40% from 3, right? So basically, we let it be known that he's a capable scorer. That's what it is, right? But to me, I'm not shocked by what he said, because that's what you do. That's what people do. No, you always say, I'm happy to be here. I'm this and that. But to me, it's not going to die down. I mean, because it might die down a little bit, but until he's here this season, and even when he's even if he's here up until the trade deadline, we're going to, and especially if he struggles, we're going to hear stories, and we're going to hear the fans on Twitter, social media, whatever, saying we want Tobias Harris trade. It's been that way since he signed his contract in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and he said nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with anything that he said. It was just more of that he did follow up, knowing that all of that stuff is out there. I thought he had a pretty good comeback where some guy on Twitter said he would trade him for a bag of those, the bag that the cookies come in. Tobias had the perfect response and said, whatever the guy's name is, they come in the box. And so there was that. But yeah, I mean, this is his tenure in Philadelphia. For good or bad, this is who he is. And as far as it goes with how he's viewed with the fans, and they know he's a good player. They feel like he leaves some things on the table for them as Sixer fans, casual or not, and that's where they are. But hey, it looks like he's going to be here, as we've talked about before, based on your reporting, all the teams that are interested in him. But Daryl Morey and the 76ers, they have no interest as of right now of trading Tobias on. So as we evaluate things and as we look at things, it appears he's going to be part of the team and part of that starting 5 yet again. See if Nick Nurse can get some other things going with the coaching staff, figure out how to get him more involved, get him some more touches, get him some more shots where he can have more of an offensive impact on the game, and to do the things that we've seen him in the past, where he's averaging 18, 19 points a game, close to 20, and then he dipped down to 14, 15 this past season. And as a 4th option, him accepting that role, I'm very, very interested to find out how Nick Nurse wants to use him.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's like it's a shame that y'all can't see me, but we're talking about my man, and we're talking about Crumbl cookie. I'm literally on my Crumbl cookie app, getting ready to order my daughter some Crumbl cookies. Like, I mean, it's just, and it's I'm on a diet, or I'm trying to watch what I eat, so it's like I don't eat it, but at the same time, I know she loves Crumbl cookies, and I'm about to get her 6 of them. So we'll see. Hopefully she doesn't eat them all in one setting. But it is
it's summertime. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah. So they got the wedding cake, the milk chocolate, the peanut butter blossom, galaxy brownie, the fruit pizza, and the classic pink sugar.
The sugar or the chocolate chip for me, man. So when I stop by, I'll pick up keep free from your house. But but hey, man, this is going to be the case, and especially with Keith, free agency starting on Friday, that once we see how things start to go down, then fans will start to speculate again. Well, how come we couldn't trade Tobias for this? How come we couldn't get this in return for Tobias Harris? Wouldn't Tobias Harris have made sense in that organization versus here, where that player would have made more sense here. It's not going to stop, as you mentioned, all summer. So that's where it's going to be. We'll keep it going on the other side of one of the men who is now going to be tasked in helping Tobias Harris and the team improve and get past that second round next season, as we have a new name that is mentioned for Nick Nurse's staff, and that is former Villanova standout and longtime NBA player Doug West. We'll talk about Doug West, what he'll mean to this team, the coaching staff, when we get back right here on Locked On 76ers. You add the players, you add the coaches to a championship team and make a deep run. And for a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. Tobias Harris fits pretty well. Sure, he would like to fit a little bit better in terms of the offensive production, even though he is a team player. But it's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, simply head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to my garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. Every dayers. Tomorrow on the show, we'll be one day away from the start of free agency. We'll get into yet another Sixers free agent to talk about to see if he's going to be back or if he's going to hit the market and wind up elsewhere with another team. We'll do that tomorrow right here on Locked On 76ers. All right, Keith, you announced it on Tuesday via social media and writing up a story on Inquirer.com. Doug West, former Villanova standout, longtime NBA player, and someone who was on knows Nick Nurse from their Houston days with the Grand Rapids Valley. What is it, the Vipers?
Rio Grande Valley Vipers.
Yeah. Rio Grande. Doug West joining Nick Nurse's staff here. Of course, the Philadelphia ties. Makes sense. And now he's going to be part of Nick Nurse's staff.
Yeah, he's part of the staff. You know, people saying he's probably going to be one of the defensive coaches, not the main defensive coach, but he's going to be there helping out on defense. So yeah, he's a quality fit. You know, the thing about it is Doug West is really, and it's funny because he's really like a developer of talent. You know what I mean? And he's, from what I hear, is a extremely humble and helpful guy. You know, here's a guy who coached on various levels. Now, this is his first time being an NBA coach, but he, like you pointed out, he and Nick Nurse were together in the G League. They won a championship that one year that they were together, and they kept in close contact. And he's been everything from a high school athletic director, high school coach, college coach. You know, he's done it all. He even coached at his alma mater, Altoona High School. Most recently, he was the associate head coach at Westtown School for girls, and he was also with Philly Pride basketball, right? AAU team or EYBL team, which had a McDonald's All-American. They had 3. I mean, it's like so this guy brings a lot of basketball knowledge on various different levels. So I think he'll be good. And the thing about it is, you know, I like what I see with their coaching staff right now. You have you have Rico Hines, player development. You have what's my man named
Bobby Jackson.
Bobby Jackson. So you know, so far so good. Now again, you know, they're going to have some more guys, but so far so good as far as guys who are good with developing players. So I like that for the 76ers.
And I also like the fact that outside of the Rico Hines part, well, all of them actually NBA players that have had NBA careers here, and more than just respected NBA careers of who they are. And so again, they can speak on what they know when they're sharing it with these current players. Different era, but it's the same. The fraternity is what the fraternity is. They played at a high level for a long time in this league and contributed on the teams that they were on. So yeah, Doug West, well-respected guy. So this is another good one as they start to put together the staff. Still a lot of names, as you mentioned, that are going to have to trickle in. But so far, 3 of them, Doug West added to the list. So I do like it also. And especially when you're talking about, these guards and the wings in particular, as Doug West being a forward, like a small forward type in the league for so many years, versatile, could do a lot of things. And I would expect that when he gets his hands on some of these guys, the younger guys as well, depending on who's back, Jaden Springer being one of them, the same for Tobias Harris in this case, maybe sharing some things there with him and being able to just simply, Tyrese Maxey, being able to just simply share the knowledge that he's had over the years. He's always been, as you mentioned, when he retired, still involved in the game. And so I like this hire for Nick Nurse. So I'm impressed with the things that he's done so far with the hires that he's had here.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yep. Now, one person that we're curious about that we'll find out maybe as early as Friday, or maybe it'll stretch out throughout the weekend into next week, Georges Niang, a free agent for the Philadelphia 76ers. He is one that we are going to feature here today and talking about, will he be back or will he be gone? Georges Niang, we'll talk about him next right here, Locked On 76ers. Welcome back, Locked On 76ers. That's Keith Pompey. I'm Devon Givens. All right, Keith, after 2 years, signing a 2-year deal with the 76ers in 2021, the summer of 2021, he has spent the last 2 seasons with the 76ers, playing 76 games in his first season, 78 games last season. And on the year, he averaged 9.2 in his first year, 8.2 points this past season, shooting over 43%, close to over 40% in both seasons with the basketball team. Make no mistake about it. This is who he is. He hits shots from beyond, quick catch and shoot. And that's what he is. We know around Joel Embiid and James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris, you want shooters. And Georges Niang was arguably their best shooter, at least in terms of that is his profile. He is a shooter on this team. 6'7", very good teammate. Hit a lot of big shots for the Sixers. Unfortunately, in the playoffs, though, that's where maybe, he fell short a little bit, where he would fall out of the rotation some games, and he would hit some shots and contribute in certain games, but in others, maybe a defensive liability for how people look at Georges Niang. But with all of that said, Keith, you look at who he is as a player. He's a good player, and he is someone that I know, just speaking with fans on the show and maybe even on social media, when he did sign his deal in 2021, he had signed a 2-year deal worth $6.7 million. So when you look at Georges Niang, Keith, what do you think for him? Should he be back? Should they let him move on and maybe try to fill that role with someone else?
I like George. I think he should come back. But the question is, how much are they willing to pay for him to come back? You know what I mean? That's the main thing. Like, I feel like, when you look at the Sixers, they're a team that, they're trying to have some flexibility, so to speak. I know that they really don't have a lot, but they're trying to, get out of a bad spot. So it's one of those things where, are you going to overpay to keep someone? And I like George, but I feel like that George, from what he did, I mean, these were the best.
Yeah, best years of his career, basically, for this team. And when I look at him, I look at him and I say, I'm with you. I'm in agreement. I would like to see him back. I wouldn't say basically 6.7. So he got close to $3.5 million $3.3 million over the life of those 2 years annually, I wouldn't be upset if at all, because I think, again, his shooting provides something that right now I just don't see a pathway for them to get that type of player elsewhere with the money that they really don't have. So bringing back your player doesn't affect your cap at all in that sense, where you can pay that type of player to do what they need to do. So his skill set, if he doesn't come back here, someone else is going to pick him up. So don't let that other team pick him up. Yes, defensively, he's a liability in some things. But what we also know is in the Nick Nurse defense, what he likes to do also is he likes to make sure that they run some zone from time to time. And George Niang can be at the top of the zone, on the wing of the zone, on the back end of that 2-3 zone, where he you can do some things to mask his defense. He does try. He does give effort. And of course, we're not sitting here making him out to be something that he's not. He's a three-point shooter at 6'7". That's not a great defender, but he's a willing defender that tries to do things. So I think, once again, with the shooting that you need around James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris, George Niang still provides that for the 76ers. So if they gave him a similar contract, or if they even capped it at $6 million, then forget about the 6.7. We're going to give you $3 million over the life of this 2 years. Are you going to take it? I'll give him that, because I think his shooting, again, is valuable.
I agree 100% with that. And the thing is, like, the one thing that you pointed out, championship teams have championship teams, and you need different types of players to fulfill varying roles. And he can come in and become a sniper. I mean, I know, like, some people might say, look at this defense. But in one game in particular, I believe it was the Christmas Day game, Christmas Day game against the New York Knicks, where he and James basically in that two-man pick and roll, where he was picking and pick and pop, and like he would like go back and he was killing them with the threes in that fourth quarter. And I feel like, personally, that he can fulfill a role. But again, there may be some teams that really look at him and say, hey, we're going to try to give this guy some money for him to go.
Yep. Yeah. If he gets 2 years, $10 million, I can see why he leaves.
Oh, yeah, he got to go. I mean, you got to go at 100%. That particular point. Yeah, you got to go.
And look, he loves Philadelphia, but if something like that happens, you got to go. You absolutely got to go. Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, man, we both like George Niang enough to bring him back and provide something with this team. Good locker room guy too, Keith. When you need
great locker room guy, yeah.
When you need somebody in the locker room, you need somebody tough in the locker room, and they can sit in front of the media and can say things. George Niang is certainly one of those people. All right, thanks everybody for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. Every day is tomorrow on the show. Again, we will profile another free agent for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm guessing we'll go back into the front court a little bit with this next player that we'll discuss tomorrow here on the show. Keith, do you mind letting the good folks know where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts at. We're free and available. And when you go to our YouTube channel, Locked On 76ers, make sure you click on the Liberty Bell. When you do that, you become a new subscriber, and you also get updates when we have podcasts. Also, follow my man D tonight and the rest of this week on 97.5 FM from 6 to 10 p.m. on the Divine Giving Show, right? So do that. Also, follow D on Twitter at DivineG975. Follow me on Twitter at Pompey on Sixers. And you can read my stuff in the Philadelphia Inquirer online. That's Inquirer.com. Inquirer with an I.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day, Keith. All of you, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.
Back at you, bro. Back at you. Peace.